The Tao gave birth to one. The one gave birth to two. The two gave birth to three. The three gave birth to all of creation. All things carry yin, yet embrace yang. They blend their life breaths in order to produce harmony. People despise being orphaned, widowed, and poor, but the noble ones take these as their titles. In losing, much is gained, and in gaining, much is lost. What others teach, I too will teach. The strong and violent will not die a natural death. One of the ancient Chinese philosophical concepts at play in this chapter is the concept of yin and yang. Yin and yang is used to represent the concept of two opposite but complementary forces coming together to create one balanced whole. Yin denotes femininity, darkness, mystery, passiveness, the moon, and having to do with heaven and spirits, while yang is used to denote masculinity, lightness, overtness, activeness, the sun, and having to do with the earth. In chapter 42, Lao Tzu describes yin and yang working together, or blending their life breaths, in order to produce harmony. We see examples of this all throughout nature. The alternation of sun and moon creates the cycle of one day. The blending of heat and cold produces a livable temperature. The blending of fire, as in the sun, and water, as in the rain, produces a habitable biosphere. The joining of male and female organisms enables the continuation of life. Here in this chapter, we get a bit of an example of opposite things coming together. What could be more opposite than poverty and wealth, destitution and nobility? But Lao Tzu seems to advise the quote-unquote noble ones to take on the titles traditionally despised by others. Many different philosophies and religions advise the high to make themselves low, the great to make themselves the least. Those who do this outwardly will be respected by others. Those who truly do this in their hearts will come closer to the Tao. I am not of the opinion that the way to do this is to try and lie to oneself. When we think of this concept of making ourselves low, I think we usually get the idea that this is done by talking down one's accomplishments or putting oneself down. In my opinion, this is suboptimal for several reasons. The biggest reason, however, is that this solution puts the focus on how we view ourselves. Almost all humans simply do not have the power to view the self and evaluate the self's talents, opinions, and contributions objectively. It would, of course, be desirable for us to have an accurate assessment of ourselves if we could manage it, but I just don't think we can in most cases. We are simply too biased. We will inevitably either view ourselves more or less valuable than we actually are. Therefore, I recommend a bit of a workaround. Instead of trying to view ourselves as less, perhaps the way to go about making ourselves low, as Lao Tzu suggests, is to just focus on thinking about others more than ourselves, putting their needs above ours. On the other hand, there could be a different interpretation to this line. Since I don't know Chinese myself, I can't speak to how the original manuscript ought to be interpreted. But looking at several different translations, it seems to me that perhaps we could pull a slightly different meaning out of this. Maybe the line about noble ones taking these despised titles and using them to describe themselves could be thought of not so much as a recommendation, but as an observation. Many people that do not have fame or wealth think that these things would make them happy. And yet many rich and famous people feel trapped and miserable because of these things. I have heard it expressed many times by famous people that they only wish they could be anonymous again. I've also heard it said that money makes you more of what you were to begin with. Therefore, a miserable person who acquires money only becomes more miserable, a greedy person becomes more greedy, and a cruel person becomes more cruel. I don't know if this is true or not, but either way, it is clear that many people who acquire fame and wealth find that they do not satisfy them in the way they thought they would. Thus, in losing, much is gained, and in gaining, much is lost. I hope these videos are helpful. As always, be aware that this is all just my opinion. If you like these kinds of conversations though, I'd really recommend you to hop into our philosophy Discord, where we discuss Taoism every day. This is also the best place to get updates on the channel and where we're headed. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow for chapter 43. Peace and blessings.